Even a short downtime, like 30 minutes or so, can cost tens of thousands of dollars. And when we are talking about operators, then we are easily talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. One of the most important things, there is no way to prevent DDoS attacks. Another attack method is just brute forcing logins. SQL injections can be prevented by that's probably one of the easiest ways to exploit those vulnerabilities. Hide the directory listing. That's unfortunately often public. This 100% uptime is a marketing trick. This can significantly lower the conversion rate.
How does a provider that specializes in hosting for SEO and affiliate marketing differ from just a standard web host?
Quite often, people are only focusing on their servers or hosting accounts, but what many people don't realize that DNS is also really important. So when we are talking about the metrics, then of course the time to first byte is probably one of the most important ones. If you are doing online business, then the hosting is the foundation. They just look hosting like it's an IT expense, but actually it's a strategical expense.
What are the common cybersecurity threats to iGaming websites?
Most definitely the number one is DDoS attacks.
Hello, today we're meeting in the beautiful city of Manchester. And I wanted to ask you, do you have any premium domains to sell? At Odys, we are selling 86% of our inventory to over 40,000 verified buyers. And most of it are instant sales. We handle appraisals, brokerage, and everything. So join our marketplace today.
Hello, we're back with Odys Podcast at SEO Estonia in the beautiful city of Tallinn. And my guest today is Jaan Porkon, who is the owner of Priority Prospects, which offers premium PBN hosting services. And we will talk today about hosting and cybersecurity in iGaming. Welcome, Jaan.
Thank you.
So can you actually tell us, what are the key business risks if hosting isn't done right?
So when we are talking about online businesses, then the hosting is basically the foundation of everything. So once your hosting is down, your website is offline, then basically your business is offline and you cannot generate any kind of revenue.
Okay. So why is choosing the right hosting provider so critical, especially for iGaming affiliates?
So for iGaming, it is really crucial to have a really good hosting partner, because quite often there are different kinds of challenges when hosting iGaming websites. Quite often, we are talking about attacks, issues with the domains, the legal issues, like some countries doesn't allow iGaming type of content. And it is important to have a host that understands your business and is ready to support you and your business.
And is it the same for operators?
For operators, it's a bit more complicated because when we are talking about just affiliates and lead generators, then their websites are relatively simple compared to operators. For operators, they will need a really dedicated infrastructure. They need a lot more staff who manages their everything, databases, everything. And so yeah, for operators, it's a lot more complicated.
Okay. So what makes hosting for iGaming affiliate websites different from other industries? Like if we were to compare for e-commerce or B2B SaaS in terms of like technical and operational needs?
So basically, the main problem is still the competition. And the competition can be fierce, which means that there can be quite large attacks. But when we are talking about B2B or let's say e-commerce, there also the website types are different. When we are talking about iGaming websites, they are usually a bit more simple and they don't need that many resources. But when we are talking about e-commerce, there's the database server and how the database works. That's extremely crucial. And the same for B2B services as well, because there they have like the technicality of mainly really heavy database loads. But when you have an iGaming website, then it's not that complicated, and most often times you can also generate HTML websites, so you actually don't need any database connections or anything like that.
Mhm. And what is the most overlooked aspect of hosting that actually can lead to like critical failures for the websites?
Quite often, people are only focusing on their servers or hosting accounts, but what many people don't realize that DNS is also really important. And in the hosting industry, there's a joke, and for system admins, that when there is some sort of outage, it's always DNS outage. So this is something that's often overlooked, or or people don't put that much effort into DNS, because the DNS is really required when the website visitor cannot resolve your domain name. Then that's basically like having your website or server offline. So you have 2 points of failure. One is the DNS, and one of them is the hosting. And quite often people forget the DNS.
Ah, okay. So what is like the biggest mindset shift that the iGaming website owners need to make when it comes to hosting and like cybersecurity?
In my opinion, the biggest thing is that they just look hosting like it's an IT expense, but actually it's a strategical expense, and it's part of running the business. So when your website is not working, you're not doing business. So that's one of the things that many people maybe don't think about that much. Like it's really important to understand that if you are doing online business, then the hosting is the foundation, and it's just not some random expense. And it is important to focus on that mindset.
How much can such a downtime of a website cost like an operator or affiliate, especially like during high traffic events?
When we are talking about really high traffic events, like some sort of, let's say, football World Cups and such, um, a lot of traffic happens within like really short period of time. That means probably most of their earnings will come within that short period. So that's before the event and during the event. So when during the when there is downtime, uh, it can easily cost tens of thousands. Even a short downtime, like 30 minutes or so, can cost tens of thousands of dollars. And when we are talking about operators, then we are easily talking about hundreds of thousands of
Oh,
dollars.
wow.
So it is really crucial to have a strong hosting for that period of time.
So actually, can you tell us about different hosting providers? Meaning, how does a provider that specializes in hosting for SEO and affiliate marketing differ from just a standard web host?
Well, the standard web host, your regular web hosting services, they are specialized for probably small businesses. So we are talking about really simple little websites that maybe don't get that much traffic. But when we are talking about hosting providers for SEO or iGaming, then those service providers will understand like what they are dealing with and what sort of customers they have and what sort of needs those customers have. And this is really crucial, because then the hosting service provider can do specific things like optimizations and I don't know. And then they can do hardware optimizations, They can do software optimizations. They are able to provide caching. They can offer all kinds of different features that an iGaming company or an affiliate would need.
How can iGaming affiliates evaluate the ROI of investing in like premium hosting services compared to cheaper alternatives?
Quite often, cheaper alternatives have a bit slower infrastructure and maybe not that reliable as well. So we are talking about server components or the network itself. When they are thinking about ROI, what's important is, of course, the uptime. The server needs to stay up. And the second thing is the website speed, because the website speed really matters for conversions. If there's a short delay, like couple of extra seconds, then this can significantly lower the conversion rate, and people will just leave. That means, the money goes away. So ideally, it would make sense to invest into proper hardware, proper service. So it would make sense to focus on premium quality services, because they are able to ensure that your websites are loading fast, the website is online. And of course, usually budget hosts don't really have like very good support, or have really slow support because they are overwhelmed, or they don't have specific knowledge. But when we are talking about higher quality providers, then they also have expertise to quickly resolve any kinds of problems. So that's definitely something to think about, when we are talking about ROI.
So let's talk about the technicalities now, if you don't mind. Can you actually explain what does server uptime mean, and why is it like a make or break factor for iGaming revenue?
A server uptime is a measurement in percentages. Usually they measure it within a month, and it just shows how much time your website has been online. So when we are talking about 100% uptime, then we are talking about that the server has been working the whole month. So when we are talking about 99.9% uptime, then this will mean that there may be up to something like 43 minutes of downtime each month. But quite often, this 100% uptime is a marketing trick, because it is extremely difficult to have actual 100% uptime. That's usually just a marketing trick, and this doesn't mean that the service has 100% uptime. It just means if the uptime drops below 100, you will usually get some sort of service credits or a little refund here or there. But actually achieving 100% uptime is extremely complicated. And having like constant throughout the year, having 100% uptime is really, really complicated, because things happen. And even bigger companies like Meta, like Google, even they have outages.
So actually, what configurations should iGaming affiliates prioritize to ensure the optimal performance then?
So when we are talking about the metrics, then of course the time to first byte is probably one of the most important ones, because that measurement shows you how fast your web page is served, and the faster it is, the better it is. And this is definitely the number one thing that you should optimize to. The second thing would be using a CDN, because the CDN allows your website to serve usually static assets like style sheets and images from a location that is closer to your visitor. So this will ensure that your website is loading extremely fast. A third thing would be to use caching as much as you can, because loading dynamic websites can be slow because there are many potential places where the delay can come. Especially usually it's coming from the database or something like that. Usually the delay comes from the database, and if possible, it would be really great to use caching as much as you can. And caching in that context just means that you have a system that will serve a pre-created HTML file to the website visitor. That means the server doesn't need to, do extra work if nothing changes. So this will definitely speed up, websites significantly. And the fourth one that is more important when we are talking about dynamic websites, then of course it's the database queries and database connections. They also need to be really fast.
Mm-hmm. So actually, can you tell us what are the common cybersecurity threats to iGaming websites? For example, DDoS attacks or SQL injection, and how can they impact operations?
Most definitely the number one is DDoS attacks.
Yeah.
A DDoS attack it's a relatively simple attack, but what happens during the DDoS attack is that a web server will receive a really massive amount of requests at once. So we are talking about most often we are talking about HTTP requests. That means someone will hire a botnet or something similar, and then those bots will start sending many requests to the website. And what will happen then is that usually the number of requests is so high that it will exhaust the server resources. Another attack that may happen, which is also with DDoS, is like when they exhaust your network bandwidth. So they are sending such a large amount of data at once, and your network just can't handle it, and then everything will slow down. And of course there are a few more ways, but usually the layer 7, so that's HTTP and UDP attacks are most common.
What other attacks have you seen? Like, for example, SQL injection?
SQL injection, it is common. The attackers are trying that, but these days usually the software is good enough that it's like optimized to prevent such attacks from happening. But also if the backend is written maybe by a beginner programmer or something, then XSS attack is also really common. And this basically just means that the attacker is able to submit some sort of HTML code through, let's say, comment form. And when the comment is displayed, this HTML code is also executed. And this is a really great way to, for example, deface the whole website. That means showing another page instead of your page. And another attack method is just brute forcing logins. So they are trying to get to the admin area, and they are just trying like thousands, tens of thousands of different passwords and usernames. And if you use weak credentials, then they eventually may be able to gain access to your admin area. So these are most common ones.
So how do you protect against them?
For DDoS, there are different ways. One of the most common ways to protect against DDoS is using a load balancer. So you spread the load across multiple servers. This can help with smaller attacks. When you are dealing with like really big attacks, One of the services that you can use is Cloudflare, of course. It's probably one of the biggest services that you can use. It has a free plan, so it's accessible for many people. And the way they are built is they just absorb the whole attack. They don't do like anything magic, but they just absorb the whole attack. SQL injections can be prevented by just sanitizing the user input. So you don't insert the user input directly to the database, but you use parameterized queries instead. So that's a little programming feature that most programming languages have when talking with databases.
So I know that you mentioned to me before a significant attack on an iGaming company that happened in 2024. Can you share like an overview of what happened and what was the recovery process?
Yeah, so we were working with a customer who is in a very tricky industry, and they have really fierce competition. And what happened was that they were trying to rank on the #1 page for specific keywords during a specific event. And what happened was that their competition started attacking them, and they were sending absolutely massive attacks towards their domains. At some point, we were experiencing over 200 million requests within a couple of hours. And it was a constant attack for multiple weeks. And thanks to a combination of different techniques, we were able to resolve the issue for them, and their websites stayed online.
So how do you actually prevent such attacks?
Unfortunately, there is no way to prevent DDoS attacks because they are user generated, and unfortunately, there is a way to mitigate them, but unfortunately, there is no way to prevent them.
So you just have to be ready.
You have to be ready, and especially when you are in such a difficult industry like iGaming is. Of course, this is something you have to think about.
And are there some other advanced techniques that attackers use in like DDoS attacks and SQL injection?
One of the really good attack ways that they have is, as I previously said, caching is really important. But caching is also one way how you can reduce the stress of your server when you are being attacked. One of the ways they try to bypass it is by adding dynamic query strings to the URL. And this means usually when we are caching pages, they cache the full URL. But when you append some sort of dynamic value into the URL, then the cache needs to be reloaded. That means the request is served by the backend, not the cache. And that is one of the ways they are trying to bypass the cache so that they can still take the server down.
So can you recommend what are the first steps that iGaming affiliates should take to secure their websites?
I believe it would be one of the easiest things to do first would be just hide your server version. Quite often it's enabled, but this is a really great way. Like they scan your website, they can see which web server they use, and if there are vulnerabilities for this web server, for this version, then that's probably one of the easiest ways to exploit those vulnerabilities. Second thing, of course, would be to hide the directory listing. That's unfortunately often public, and that just means that all of the files that are in your directory And if you don't have an index file, then all of those files will be visible. Also, it's really important to use some sort of firewall. Like quite often people are using Mod Security. It's a free firewall that can be used for Apache, for Nginx, and Lightspeed. And it's really popular, and it has massive amounts of rules for basically every situation. Another thing would be to make sure that you have, let's say, a VPS or a dedicated server. There are some special services that offer like hardened shared hosting services, but when iGaming, let's say, affiliates wish to use just a regular hosting, then that's usually not enough. It would be better to use a VPS or a dedicated server, because then you control the whole environment, you control who is hosted there, and you don't have to worry about someone else's site or account getting attacked and hacked, and then somehow they are able to hack your account as well. So that's why it's really important. When you are using WordPress, of course the main thing is to use a really strong password for your admin account, and if it's possible, it would be good to enable two-factor authentication as well. And there are plugins, or you can do it manually as well. You can hide the admin folder, and you can rename the file that is being used in WordPress for logging in. And probably one of the most important things is to take backups. That's something that many companies for some reason don't do, but it's always really important. Even if the host is saying that they are taking backups, it's always really important to take your own backups as well.
So how do you actually balance website performance, such as fast load times for SEO, with solid cybersecurity?
Again, one of the most important things is to use caching. And if it is possible, it would be really great to use some sort of firewall that sits in front of your server. That means, all the bad stuff that may happen will be blocked before those requests reach your server. This ensures that, your web server doesn't get exhausted, like resources don't get exhausted. Also, it would be really reasonable to use the latest HTTP versions. So if possible, it would make sense to use HTTP 3. If that's not available, then HTTP 2 will make a significant difference, because it is able to run all the requests in parallel, and this will significantly increase the load speed of your website.
So if you were to give one piece of advice for an iGaming CEO, be it either operator or affiliate, about hosting and cybersecurity, what would it be and why?
My recommendation would be to treat hosting as a strategic investment, and not just a regular IT expense, because when you are an online business, then everything relies on your hosting. When there is something wrong with the hosting, then it's not a technical issue, it's a business outage.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jan, for sharing all that information. And if you're interested in what Jan is talking about, don't hesitate to follow him or contact on LinkedIn, and subscribe to our Odys channel for more episodes like that. Thank you.
Thank you.